And it's the same way with the CCW. Why in the world would you want somebody with a concealed carry with a gun hidden, that if the case arose that they were going to shoot somebody out in the middle of the parking lot because they were trying to defend somebody, but couldn't shoot? Hello everyone. So I am going to get off of my health once again, and I'm going to talk about something that is going around our nation today. This is all stemming around the latest mass shooting in Parkland, Florida. These kids have endured something very, very traumatic, and I will imagine that many of them will have PTSD, some sort of a, not necessarily a mental illness. They will just have some traumatic, I don't want to say illness because it's not an illness, it's just something traumatic because of what they have seen and have gone through. Now, this brings me to my point. We have recently had here in the state of Kentucky 2 tip-offs to the Kentucky State Police and to the local sheriff and police departments. I want to say one was in Bowling Green and one was in Marshall County, and the other one was just literally one county over. In 2 other counties, the teens were caught, picked up, and now in jail. And the other one in Bullitt County, the 2 individuals did not do it during school hours. They did do it after school hours and injured 2 people, and they are now in jail. You know, I think that a lot of this is going on now is because we talk about these kids like they're celebrities. They're getting national recognition. And some kids get no. They get no, come on, help me figure out what the word is I'm looking for. They get no attention. They get no attention from their families. They get no attention from their parents. They get no attention. So any attention is better than no attention. So they are seeking out attention, but in a negative manner. So they're getting attention. It's just not the right attention. So these kids were picked up. The other 2 were also picked up and are now in jail. We have in the past here in Louisville, Kentucky, kids, Fern Creek High School was one of them. A kid had a gun in his backpack. Nothing ever happened. We had him downtown. You know, a lot of these are happening in small towns. Louisville is a big city. And, you know, our kids are bused all over our city. You can live in Fern Creek but be bused to a school downtown. They move our kids all over town. It doesn't matter where you live. You can live in the best area town, and if you let them, those kids will go to school downtown. And that's the crappiest schools that are down there. So that's why parents try to live and move into a nicer, better well-off area so their kids go to a better school. And then you got some of us that send our kids to private schools because it doesn't matter. After elementary school, high school, they go to wherever school they want them to go to. Kids ride the TARC bus just to get to the right school that they're supposed to be going to, because the city buses our kids all over the place. So our governor, Matt Bevin, was on the news. It wasn't yesterday, it was Monday, and he said something that everybody needs to be saying and doing. These kids are hurt. They don't know, they don't understand what they're asking for. And, these are the same kids that think that we have the Second Amendment because the British were coming. And that's not why we had the Second Amendment. And these are also the same kids who think that because somebody's trying to give them what they call a history lesson, that person, that tells them right there the person can't handle a gun. No, the person is giving them a history lesson because it's obvious that they didn't learn the correct American history in American history class or in social studies about our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Independence, Declaration of Independence. They know nothing about our American history. They know nothing about the Constitution. They tell us we're misinterpreting it and that it needs to be thrown away because it's old and things are new. And no, we don't need to throw it away. These are the laws of our land, and anything else added is added, but these are the laws. This is what we've gone with for over 200 years, and this is what we will continue to go by. Yes, there are amendments, things can be adjusted, but they will never go away. So, anyway, so Matt Bevin said that he's not going to make any changes. He said now's not the time. People are too emotional, and that is what they're feeding off of. They're feeding off of emotions. And, he's right. I've been saying the same thing since this Parkland shooting has happened. It is a very, very, very sad issue. But the fact of the matter is they are asking us to give up our Second Amendment rights, which our forefathers have given us because we were given the Second Amendment right to protect ourselves from our own government. And when you disarm a country, there's only something more sinister behind it. And this is where these kids need their history lesson, because they don't know what it is truly that we need to continue to have our freedom to our Second Amendment rights. So, I applaud Matt Bevin for not giving in to, everybody crying and whining and wanting, more gun control and all this. I have even said, if you want to make stricter background checks, make them. But you know what? You cannot make any stronger of a background check than a federal background check. People do not understand, and I don't know how I can drill it into their heads. First of all, there are a few states that is may issue states for concealed carry. May issue means you need to show just cause for you needing a concealed carry. The state I live in is a shall issue. You show that you go through this 8-hour class, you take a test, you show that you can take your gun apart, you can clean it, and you can correctly put it back together. You also do an on-range test to see if you are capable of handling your gun, or if the fact of the matter is that gun's just too big for you, it has too much backfire, or recoil, not backfire, recoil, and perhaps you need a smaller gun. And there's always somebody there that has a lower caliber gun that they are more than willing to let you shoot to see, yeah, that gun is too high of a caliber for that person to shoot with. So let's go down to a lower caliber. Let's see if you can shoot it. And 9 times out of 10, that person can hit on the target every single time. It's just that gun was too strong for them. And also, I had this problem. I was borrowing somebody's .22. Their .22 kept getting, it kept getting stuck, and that is a big issue, because if you have a gun that keeps getting caught and just keeps, and all you can get is like two bullets out while you're shooting, and the next one you can't get it out because it just keeps getting stuck. There's something in it. So then that's a whole nother reason why you need an on-the-range test, so you know how to handle this situation. So the instructor kept taking my gun. He's like, look, he says, anybody back here has got this same gun that she can use? And there was. But in our class, we did a class full of 4 employees, because that's what my husband was, and I think, including myself, there was 3 wives that was also going through it. So in our firing range test, we did 21 shots. You had to make 11 on a silhouette. I hit all 21, just to let you know. But I also have previous training. I was brought up around guns. When I was in ROTC, I shot rifles. I got very good at it, indeed. And rifle teams, and I would go to summer drills in Fort Knox, and there I learned how to shoot an M16. I learned how to take the M16 apart, clean it, and correctly put it back together. I was also timed to put it back together, and I was also female cadet. So, especially with an M16, you have to be sure you put that gun back together. If you don't put a gun back together, and this is any gun, if you don't put a gun back together correctly, that gun is now an explosive. So, there are states that don't require this. And if you look back to one of my other vlogs, it's Virginia's CCW. They do not require an on-the-range training. And the reason why I went and I made the phone call, and the whole phone call is online, is on the video, is because, one, I wanted to show how easy it was to get their CCW. And at one time, they had dropped 25 states that they no longer recognized our concealed carry, and they said it was because we didn't have strict rules. Well, the fact of the matter is, they don't have strict rules. All they do is a written test. They don't make sure that the person can actually manage that gun, that they know how to take care of the gun. That if this gun gets stuck, the bullets get stuck in it, that they know how to do it. when I was doing my safety video, I used my own gun. My gun is always loaded. It's always loaded. I have a CCDW. In fact, Kentucky is the only state that has a concealed carry deadly weapons, which means I can carry more than a gun or a rifle. So when I was doing it, I made sure, if you can't see it though, I actually did have a bullet get stuck while I was emptying it out, and I edited that part out. But I knew how to deal with that. I knew how to take care of it. And so, you know, there's a lot of things that need to be taught instead of gun control. It needs to be gun safety, how to handle a gun, how to take care of an issue, just in case that for some reason your gun's not firing and, you know, it's loaded, but why isn't it firing? You need to learn how to do that. So, you know, Kentucky, when you go to buy a gun, you go through a Kentucky background check. If there's any red flags, anything at all. When I turned in my paperwork for the nationwide FBI, I got through it. It's just, you know, people don't realize they want bigger back. How much bigger of a weight do you think you need? I mean, when we turned in our paperwork, we got it back about 3 weeks. And it's through an NICS background check. And it's through the FBI. It's through the federal background check. So there is no more. Is there, somebody tell me, is there another background check that you can go through? You wait about 3 weeks to get it. And if there's anything, you won't get it. They will tell you if there's something on it that you can get taken care of, and this medial, and then they'll give it to you. But yeah, I mean, that just goes to show that people are not educated, and they're on the bandwagon because, hey, this is the thing to do right now. And so instead of being educated, they're on the bandwagon talking out their ass and want to argue with you and say that you are misinformed. No, my dear, you are misinformed and ignorant. So, you know, and my whole take is, you know, yes, everybody has a right to bear arms. There are some issues and reasons why certain people cannot have a gun. And those reasons are very well justified. However, a CCW is not a privilege. It is just like a driver's license. A driver's license is not a privilege. It is a right. You have to take a test. You have to pass it. You have to show that you are capable of driving a car or a truck or whatever it is that you are driving. And it's the same way with the CCW. Why in the world would you want somebody with a concealed carry with a gun hidden, that if the case arose that they were going to shoot somebody out in the middle of the parking lot because they were trying to defend somebody, but couldn't shoot? I mean, let's face it, people. If these are the kind of concealed carry license that are being distributed, then that puts the person that has a concealed carry in jeopardy. If you cannot shoot straight, if you are one to miss, and your concealed carry state doesn't require on the range training and making sure that you can shoot, then they're putting your life at risk, because you could possibly go to jail for homicide. And if you don't know the rules, if you don't know what kind of bullets that you need to use, if you're out because of self-defense, then there you go again, because you weren't taught. You know, you don't go out among a bunch of people with hollow point bullets. Hollow point bullets go through you, the next person, and maybe a kid. They just go straight through. They go straight through walls. I've got bullets now, I can't think of the name of them, but once they hit something, it mushrooms. It does not go anywhere else. So, no, I do not think that concealed carry is a right. I think it's much like a driver's license. It's a privilege. You have to show that you are capable of using it. And why that's my opinion. I'm sure there's many others that have a different opinion. It is everyone's right to have a weapon, a gun, a rifle, but a concealed carry is not a right. You have the right to open carry. I choose not to. I choose not to for a few reasons. I choose not to because it makes you a sitting duck. People see you with a gun on your hip or wherever you're going to keep it, and you know, it does. It makes you a sitting duck. So, you know, yeah, I do. You never know where it's going to be on me. So, you know, I do it for my own safety. And, you know, I do take it downtown with me a lot. Not so much around here, but when I'm downtown, some of our convenience stores around here, they are very low staffed, and it gets very, very packed very easily, and sometimes I don't have it on me, and you know, at those times I'm like, you know, I really should have this on me, because I'm not scared, I just feel really, really uneasy, because usually, you know, there might be a cop coming in and out of there around that time, but there's going to be a time, because it's already happened. A friend of my husband's and I was at a convenience store right across the street from the mall, and this robber came in, and he thought he was going to shoot and rob the convenience store. Well, so Carrie was in there, and they didn't shoot him. They subdued him until the police arrived. But, you know, those are some of the things that people don't hear about. They don't hear the good things that somebody's done. They only hear about the bad things. So, you know, when people want to talk about, let's do this, let's do that, you know, let's do gun safety. If you're going to give concealed carry out, do a firing range test. And make sure that person knows how to handle the gun. Make sure they know what kind of bullets that they need to use if they are going to be out. You know, firing ranges, being out on the farm, shooting targets, you know, shooting cans. Use the hollow points. You know why? Because they're cheap. My gun, I don't know why the 380s are so expensive, but they are. And you never hear somebody say, oh yeah, I got a whole bunch of 380s. I say you're really cheap. You never hear that. My husband, oh yeah, he's got more than he needs, but you know, mine, you never hear it. I always gotta go to the store and buy mine. But you know, even hollow points are expensive. So yeah, yeah. If they're gonna do CCWs for people, and the state doesn't require a firing range test, they really need to, because you know, I'd hate to be out with somebody that didn't do one and really and truly doesn't even go to the firing range to keep up with their firing. You know, I hadn't even shot a gun in over 10 years before I had even signed up for my CCW. I just went and I said, oh, I'm not worried about it. Told my husband. Went to the firing range, blank, 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 like I was back on a bike again. You know, it's just, some people can remember, some people don't. Some people just can't shoot. You know, there's some people now that I'm hearing that the military is teaching you to shoot with both eyes open. I was taught to shoot with my dominant eye and the other eye closed. Now, I could never do it. My eyesight's so bad. I have to have my glasses on, and they're always on. But there's no way that I could train myself now to do it with both eyes. I do very well with my left eye closed and my right eye open. I have night sights on my gun, so, you know, just follow the sight and you will do right. But, you know, a lot of people are not good with it. When they shoot and they feel the bullet and the recoil, they will automatically pull up. I can shoot one of my husband's big guns, but I allow, after I shoot the first bullet, I see where I'm hitting, and then I adjust for the recoil, because I'm just a little person, and you know, a gun bigger than my 380 or a 9mm, I have to adjust for the recoil. So, you know, it's just, and you know, different brands of guns, and even if they are a 9mm or whatever, they shoot differently. And you know, so yeah, people who have not been trained on the gun range and passed a gun range test prior to a CCW, just, you know, they're not getting the on the range training. They're not able to ask questions. They're just, you know, they're just not there. They need to be able to ask questions. You know, I'm just a firm believer in educating and safety, because I'd really hate to be next to the person who took the gun apart, cleaned it, and put it back together wrong, and then have that become an explosive while I'm at the firing range and being next to the person. So it is very important for gun safety. And, you know, it's just people don't understand, and there's so many people misinformed, and there is a lot of history that needs to be taught. And, you know, if these other kids think that because somebody is trying to teach them the history, that person doesn't need to own a gun, then the person that then the person that is telling us that the person that's trying to give you the American history lesson don't need to be holding a gun, is actually the person that doesn't need to be holding a gun, because he had no idea how to handle a gun, what kind of guns there are, or anything. Talking about crossbow and shooting deer, and don't even know that an AR-15 is a semi-automatic. And And these kids also, they want to get rid of all the semi-automatics. Do they realize what guns are semi-automatics? That most of the guns out there now are semi-automatics. An automatic is when you pull the trigger and it goes boom, 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 boom. A semi-automatic, you just don't have to keep putting the bullets in. It's already in the magazine. You just have to keep pulling the trigger. That's it. A shotgun's not a semi-automatic. You gotta keep loading that sucker. A revolver, I don't know. It kind of revolves on a yes and a no, because you could put the bullets in there in a revolver and it spins. So I don't know where it lays on that one. But and then we have people dropping NRA members and their discounts, and that's an attack again on conservatives, and they're attacking conservatives again on Twitter and suspending accounts. And back when they were doing that again during the Obama era, I had to set up a second account because I had been suspended. And so, even though Trump is in office, there's still somebody paying it. I'm sure it's probably George Soros is paying Twitter and, these other people that, are attacking, conservatives again. Well, you can attack me all you want, but it's still not going to stop me from boycotting you. I have boycotted a lot of places, and I boycotted Girl Scouts a long time ago because they are pro-abortion, and I had not bought any Girl Scout cookies. My husband bought some from a guy at work this year. I finally broke down and got into the Thin Mints because those are my favorite, but I ain't nothing else. So, anyway, so everybody has opinion. Please feel free to leave me yours in the comment section. Be nice. No point in being nasty. I'm not being nasty. I'm just giving the facts. So, I always welcome comments, concerns, questions, anything. But please remember, I am a daughter of a World War II vet who not only got hurt during World War II, but also got a Silver Star. He took over a hill in Okinawa, and he put a man out who was burning, or on fire actually. And this same man also retired from the U.S. government. He was also held captive. He was kidnapped while I was just before I went into kindergarten. I'll never forget that. We had everybody at our house tapping our phones and everything. And he finally retired at the age of 65. No, at the age of 61. And at the age of 65, my dad was somebody that could never, ever stay still, could never stay retired. Way back before he went to work for the government, he was also a Bowling Green police officer. He was a Louisville police officer. Then he went to work for the federal government, and my dad, when we first moved back to Kentucky, worked for the jail. He was a deputy jailer, and then when he was shot and killed in the line of duty, he was a deputy sheriff. So, seeing that he was in the military and he worked for the American government, and he was shot and killed in the line of duty, and I'm still not for gun control. You know, there are probably many, many people who have lost family members. You know, that have been fallen police officers, sheriff, anything like that. They don't want gun control either. They want probably the same thing I do. I've never heard of any of our Kentucky State Police, city police, anything, wanting stricter gun control. They just want justice. And, you know, if my dad would have lived, I know he wouldn't want gun control. He would want more gun safety and justice. And that is what he would have wanted. And, you know, that's not too much to ask. And so, you know, I never got a chance to tell my dad that I loved him. I never got a chance to say goodbye. I live with his death on my mind every single day. But I'm not out here marching for gun control. You know? No, my dad's files are tucked away tight. I know police officers that went down there to work and came back up here. And still to this very day, I don't want tighter gun control. I mean, come on, people. I do not want gun control. I want gun safety. I want people to learn how to handle the freaking gun. I want people to be educated. And if we aren't educating people, then how are they going to know how to handle a gun? This stuff should be taught in schools. It really should. It should be taught in schools. You know, there was never, not one kid brought a gun to school while I was in high school. Not one. We had a shooting range inside my high school. We had 22 rifles in an armory behind a steel door in my high school. We never had problems with anybody bringing guns to school, breaking into the armory. We did not have that. But gun safety, how to use a gun, all of that was taught if you took ROTC. And you know what? There is a school that's teaching kids, if they want, to take a class on how to shoot, how to be on, and I think they've even got rifle teams, and I think that they are actually doing like what we did, have rifle teams and shooting against them to see who wins. So people, we don't need gun control. We need education and we need safety. And you know what? I'm leaving it at that because I can and I could go on and on, but what's the point? I'm going to leave it here. So please, comment, suggest, make suggestions, be nice. I am pro 2A. Don't tread on me.